Hi, it's Paul Merriman here from Ask Paul. I'm delighted to be in Source today, where I'm going to be having a chat with our Housing Minister Darragh O'Brien about all the various government schemes that are available to first-time buyers getting on their property ladder. Darragh, we're out here in Source today. Great hustle and bustle around the place. I bet this is one of the locations that a lot of people are trying to move back to. So people might be renting, might be originally from Source, around the Fáil area. There's a lot of development going on here, just not just housing-wise, but culturally as well. But would you bring us through what's happened from a development point of view for people?
Well, look, we had a decent year last year. We built 30,000 homes, and we're actually hoping to do more than that this year. Right. And we're projecting to do that. Towns like Swords all across the country are seeing that development happen. Good new starter homes. Swords, there's literally hundreds of homes under construction right now in this town. Many others across Fáil and indeed right across the country. So what I'm glad to see is more first-time buyers being able to get their foot on the ladder. We're seeing over 400 a week now being able to draw down their mortgages, and a lot of them are using the help that we're providing, the help to buy grant in the first home scheme. Like €100,000 people can get to help them buy the home, and we need more people to know about that. And that is gaining traction now, but it's good. There's a good bustle here. I'm optimistic about this year that we're building the progress of last year. It's still not easy for people. I think we need to recognise that, but that's why these schemes are so important that people know about them.
I think you touched on something really important there. Not everybody knows about all the schemes and all the benefits that are available. I think a lot of people feel locked out of it because of housing prices. But one of the things I hear all the time of people is mortgage interest rates. If you look at the local authority loan, you can use that for new builds, second-hand properties as well. The rates are below 3% and they're locked in for 20, 25 or even 30 years. So again, there's a lot of negative commentary out there. So trying to create the positivity around what is available and helping people.
Look, it's trying to recognise firstly, that we are making progress. There are still difficulties for people. But take the example you've used, the local authority home loan. Like you get a long-term fixed rate mortgage for less than 3%. Okay, and lots of people don't know that. Okay, so we're seeing an increase in the uptake of that, and more people knowing about it. So it means you've certainty on your mortgage repayment of less than 3% a year. And when you can couple that with things like the help to buy grant, 30,000 of your own tax back in your own pocket to help with your deposit, and things like the first home scheme, where we're on average giving about 60 to 70,000 euro in equity. So you add that plus help to buy, it's €100,000. And it's when I sit down with constituents in Fáil or meet people across the country, and you sit down and explain it, one, they're saying, well, can I actually get that? Yes, you can. And we want you to. That's why the schemes are there. So we're seeing a big increase in the uptake over the course of this year. But it is really important that more people know about it and know what their options are. Particularly when, as you mentioned, in a high interest rate environment. So it's about, I believe, getting above some of that noise, because yes, there is a lot of negativity out there, but no one can dispute the fact that we're seeing more first-time buyers now buying their homes over the last number of months than we've seen actually since 2007. So it is moving, and there is progress there, and we want more of it.
I think people fail to probably do is maybe plan in advance as well. So they're thinking of buying a property over the next couple of years. Again, it's trying to rise above the negativity, find out what's available to me, what can I use. I also find that, towns like, I suppose, Swords as well, people that are single, their first home scheme is available still, help to buy is available still, the local authority loan, again, if you have a single income, they'll look after you as well. So there's a lot of support out there. I'd hate to think of anybody sitting in a rental accommodation feeling that they need a deposit, because, help to buy can massively help there. They mightn't have the banker mum and dad, the first scheme comes in there as well, the first home scheme comes in there as well. So there is a lot of support out there. It's about trying to recognise that for people and give them the information and get it.
No question. I think you hit on a really important point about singles. And lots of singles feel that, look, I can't buy a house because I'm single. I don't have two incomes coming into the household. That's why we've made changes to the affordable home loan scheme. We've increased the limit there for single people. It helps to buy grant. Doesn't matter whether you're single or a couple. That's your money back in your pocket, and the first home scheme. So a lot of people now who were renting are now being able to buy their home. And it really, what I'd say to people is, you need to sit down and crunch the numbers. Okay, we've some really good information out there. Firsthomesscheme.ie, on revenue.ie as well, and then using qualified mortgage brokers like yourself and people who are going to advise them and say, look, here's the mortgage you can get, here's the best product on the market, and here's what works for you. Because if you're paying rent of anything from €1,400 to €2,200 a month, that's really difficult for people, and then they feel, well, I can't save. And I get that. That's why they help to buy grant.
And the good thing about that is, if you have been paying rent like that, I know it's hard to pay it every single month. you've created your affordability for the bank.
Absolutely.
So the bank are going to trust you more on the application, or else the local authority are going to trust you more on the application for the mortgage, because you've proved that you can pay the mortgage. So it's almost as good as saving from a record point of view. Obviously the money's gone out the door, it's not the bank account, but from a record point of view, it does justify it. I think people forget that as well. They might understand that if you're renting, that's proof to the bank you can afford like it would be saving. And you have to use the schemes there, like you said, the first, or help the boy to maybe help you with the deposit. What I do love about the first home scheme as well is that a lot of people say to me they're single, that they have no other income, like no one else to help them.
Yeah.
Basically, the government's in here to say we'll be the partner in getting you on the property ladder, and probably less hassle as well.
Well, probably less hassle, but that's exactly it. You see, great thing about the first home scheme, it's not a second mortgage.
Yeah,
It's equity. There's no interest in year
there's
zero.
There's a lot of misinformation out there.
Loads.
People saying the second mortgage is not a second mortgage. Small finish, there's not a second
Tiny
mortgage.
simple interest fee from year 6,
Yeah.
right? That's it. You can buy it out whenever you want, or not, as the case may be. And there was loads of negativity, for some of it for political reasons. I was out there trying to do down a scheme before it started. We've over 5,000 households, about 5,300 people now registered for first home.
That's brilliant.
We've over 2,000 approvals. So if you think about that, that's 2,000 households, right? You can buy their home now who couldn't a year ago, okay? And that's increasing every month. And like for myself as Minister for Housing and my own party, Fianna Fáil, like we back home ownership. I want to help people buy their own.
Yeah.
That's why these schemes, and we've got through the criticism and that because I believed in them, because I knew they'd work. And now thankfully they are working. And I want more people to get them.
One of the biggest criticisms I was saying at the time in the political scene was that it was going to drive up house prices, and we've seen that hasn't happened as much.
No.
Obviously, house prices have naturally increased across the country. Done a slight dip over the last month or so, but yet it hasn't actually driven prices up the way everybody said it would. So I think that's what's so important for first-time buyers and young couples or single people, is that you have to look at where we are economically wise. Forget about why we're here, what was caused. If you're trying to go on the ladder, you have to look at what's there, have it in a positive light, get it into your financial plan and move forward and use the benefits that are there.
Yeah, well, I think, look, you're right. If you look back 20 years, we had a first-time buyer's grant that was about €3,000, if you remember.
I do.
It's 30,000 now. Okay, so that's a big chunk of the 10% deposit that you need. Then if you look at first home, and we can give up to a third of the value of the property in equity with no interest on it. And as you rightly say, loads of criticism at the time. I think some of that was born out of the fact that maybe politically didn't want to see it work. It is working now. It hasn't led to house price increase. It has not fueled. We've been very careful to watch that. So we've good price caps across the country. And interestingly, here in Fingal, and I have other examples around the country where we've seen developments come down to meet the price cap.
Make sure you can get the customers in the door, the clients in the door.
What really gives me great heart on this was recognizing there's still a lot more to do on this, is I'm meeting people every single week now who are getting the keys to their home because of the schemes that we brought in, and we kept them as simple as possible. Like first home, you get your equity cert within a few days. You go get your mortgage, you apply for your equity cert, you get it. Revenue on the Help to Buy grant, you apply for that online. They'll tell you actually the calculator there exactly how much you can get. So when you sit down with people and say, well, do your revenue calculator, here's what I can get my deposit. Now what can I get in equity, right? Add them together, and people are saying, God, it's like €100,000 there. I didn't know it was there. Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. One thing to touch on before we wrap up, supply. So obviously last year was a bit of a challenge coming back out of the cost of the material prices and the cost of living prices. The war and the invasion of Russia into Ukraine as well had probably stopped developers. What's your hope for this year, or what do you see? What are the trends in relation to supply coming onto the market with people?
Yeah, look, last year was important, and there were difficulties certainly post the war in Ukraine with materials and inflation and that, but we still did about 30,000 new homes. It was the highest amount in years. I'm quite optimistic that we'll do more than that this year. Okay. We've actually seen the first 6 months of this year, completions of new homes completed are at their highest level in about 15 years, up 6% on last year. Commencements, so that's new homes, actually boots in the ground, shovels in. Again, we're seeing an increase on that, and we won't be complacent about it. The reason we're able to, get those completions and commencements up is because of some of the schemes that we're providing. Right? And so, I think we'll take it another step up this year, and it is about delivering, in a sustainable way, the good quality housing that we need. And that's another thing. If people look at the homes that are being built, like they're all A-rated. They're heat pumps, solar panels. They're the best of properties being built now for people. Good family homes, be that for a family of one person or be that for a family of a couple with kids. And we're seeing more of that development happen right across the country. We're also, another element where we're trying to tackle, and it's getting a good bit of traction now, is the vacant properties.
Yeah, the derelict homes.
derelict homes.
That's a big thing. There's a lot of
is,
confusion out there with people on that, what qualifies, what doesn't qualify. Let's chat about that for people as well. So somebody finds a property in the local authority, you know, it's derelict, it's vacant, what's available for them, how are they going to work through it from a government point of view?
We brought through a vacant homes grant called the Creek Home Grant, okay, and it's managed through local authorities like Fáil. So in the Fáil area, you make your application through Fáil. It's up to €70,000, okay, 50,000 for vacant, 70,000 for derelict. We've had about 3,000 applications in already on that, and about 1,300 approved already. So basically, you're walking down a main street anywhere in Ireland, you will see vacant properties that are there. And a lot of people had said to me at the time, look, if I had something that would help me defray the cost or reduce the cost of doing it up, I'd be able to go buy that property. That's happening now, okay? And so I would say to people that no matter where they're living in Ireland, that every single local authority now is providing assistance there for people and advice in relation to the application. It's actually a very simple application, it's a 4-pager. Okay, so you go, if you're entering in, you don't have to purchase the property yet, you just have to show that you're in the process of purchasing it. You can then apply for the grant. So then you know what grant you're getting. And you get the grants basically once the work is completed. And that's obvious because we have to make sure the work is done, okay? And again, there's some people who've jumped on that and said, oh, you should pay the grant up front. People get that. But
every grant nearly that's out there as well.
You got to do the work, verify the work, then you get paid the grant. And it's not based on the value of the property. That's the other thing. It's a straight 50,000 for vacant, and 70,000 for derelict. So it isn't tagged to that if you bought a property for 150 grand.
Has to be X percentage or works.
We kept it simple. And also on top of that, which some people don't realise, you can also get the SEAI grant for the energy efficiency. And that's about 30,000.
Most people are going to be energy efficient when they're upgrading their house, so you're going to get both, let's be honest.
So that's working. Look, from a climate perspective and from a regeneration perspective, I want to see old vacant property brought back into use. And actually, our scheme now is not just for first-time buyers, and that's important people know that. It could be for someone who's moving out of one home into another, moving back into the village or the town. It relates to all properties. So it's town, village, city, and one-off housing, like rural farmhouses that are vacant. So it's for a lot of first-time buyers are going for it, but also people who might be right-sizing. And we're also now allowing, one additional for rental purposes, as long as it goes in for the long-term rental market. So we're seeing a big uptake on this.
I think, again, sorry, before we wrap up, I think what I notice of people is I think everything's towards new builds. So let's just go and recap here. So you're looking at the local authority loan is going to be available for buying second-hand property too. And you also have the derelict and the vacant scheme as well. So there's a lot out there. There's a good mixture.
There is.
What you're looking at. I think a number of years ago it was very much focused, help to buy, typically speaking, was new homes only. Yeah. But that seems to be creeping in to more government supports getting into the second-hand properties.
Well, it is, and look, we need that too. I suppose why a lot of the schemes are focused initially at new build properties to get that supply up that we were talking about, and we need more supply. Yeah. But then you do need to help people who are going to bring second-hand properties back in.
Yeah.
And that's happening. I am looking later this year at looking at the first home scheme for what we might do in relation to second-hand homes there. Right? We're actually doing a little bit of that at the moment for tenants who want to purchase their home that they're renting. The first home scheme is now helping them. Okay, that's the first kind of move into the second-hand sector, and it's working well. So I'm assessing that at the moment. I do want the big focus on getting our supply up, right? Of course. But there is help there for not just first-time buyers, for second-time buyers, and as you rightly say, on existing properties too.
I keep saying lastly, but there's obviously so much to go through. Have you? The next thing we'll talk about is people that are what's called fresh starters. So we talked about couples, we've talked about families, we've talked about single people as well. But another really good move is that these people were locked out a number of years ago, were divorced or separated. Yeah. So let's just talk to those people and let them know what's about for the night.
Yeah, the Fresh Start principle is one I brought in, and I firmly believe in it. And as you rightly say, people completely separated, divorced. That happens in life. They're starting again. They might own a property, but they don't have any interest in any other property. Or someone who's come through personal insolvency. Yeah. So the schemes that I've mentioned, all of them with the exception of the Help to Buy grants, is available to people on the Fresh Start principle. So your first home scheme, your vacancy grant, your local authority home loan is available to you as well if you're starting again. And that's right and proper. And we are actually seeing quite a lot of people now coming in under the Fresh Start principle. A lot of people who maybe divorced, the property had to be sold,
and they've no interest in having it to be transferred to their partner, or their ex, or
then they can get it. Then they can use these schemes. Great. And the Fresh Start principle and everything that we do, it runs right the way through our new policy initiatives that we have now at the moment. So that assistance is there for people who are starting again.
Excellent. I think that wraps up literally possibly everything
quite
that's
a
been
lot
brought
in a
in.
short enough
In a
space of
short
time.
space of time, we tried to hit on everything, like I said. So from families to couples, to first-time buyers, to fresh starters, and from new homes to second-hand homes to vacant property. You can see the work that's being put in. You can see the benefits that are there to people. I suppose the purpose of this video is to really help people understand it and make sure they reach out and get the advice around what they need.
Yeah.
And everyone's situation is going to be different as well. I think that's the thing. You look at what your neighbour's done, or your sister, or your brother, or your cousin, it mightn't be the same for you. So don't take anyone else's previous experience. Look fresh for yourself and find out what's out there.
I agree with you completely. Look, there are a number of schemes there. Sometimes people can find that complicated, but when you're dealing with very different situations, you need a number of different approaches.
Yeah.
But we've done our level best, and I think it's worked to keep the schemes simple and that people understand them, and the application process is simple. So really, when you break it down, vacant homes, we've the vacant home plans to there. Fixed rate mortgages, which are the best rate in the market, we have them there to local authorities. You want to buy a new home, you can use the first home scheme. We're giving about 70,000 in equity on average there, and the Help to Buy grant, that's there as well. The 30,000 euro for your tax back. So really, you're looking at 4 significant schemes that are there. All the information's out there. They're working for people now, and we want more people to access them.
Very good. Okay, Darragh, thanks so much for joining the chat.
Thanks, man. Cheers.